welcome to episode 234 of Did You Know Dat? I'm your host, Jonathan Johnson Jr., and today, as always, I'm joined by my guests, a shoddy green screen and a list of factoids I pulled from semi-reputable Wikipedia articles. Today we'll be touching upon one of television's greatest mysteries, this mystery relating to the critically acclaimed and Emmy Award-winning television series, The Super Mario Bros. Super Show.
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers. Hooked on the brothers.
The Super Mario Bros. Super Show is a super success at every perceivable level, inspiring the later development of an obscure video game series produced by a company named Nintendo, a hit feature film, and finally the development of a cereal. The peak of any brand's success. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show isn't just super, it's also really good. So much so that in 2010, scientists from Bean Station University discovered that it is, in fact, physically impossible to dislike the show unless you're like the mantis shrimp and can see into the nth dimension of aesthetics, pictured here. But what made the show so gosh darn good, you may ask? Well, the answer is simple. The Mario.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side.
An intricate dance routine featured at the conclusion of each Super Show episode. But why is it called the Mario? Who is this enigmatic Mario? And how did he spawn such a world-renowned sensation? I'll let you in on a little secret. The answer has in fact been right under our noses the entire time. With Mario, in fact, being this elderly man wearing suspenders and an Italian mustache purchased from Aldi's. But who is the man behind the Mario? Unfortunately, the answer to this question remains one of history's most prolific mysteries, but the fact that Captain Lou Albano is credited as performing in the show both in person and vocally could perhaps indicate it to be him. The Mario, as previously stated, is a multifaceted dancing jubilee featuring a varied assortment of moves involving the legs, the arms, and that's literally it. It's referred to as the Mario and not the Luigi because both brothers have, in fact, the same last name.
What?
Mario.
Last name?
Mario.
Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
Therefore, the Mario is a family dance, a custom passed down through the generations, slowly but surely perfected in its art. Let's elaborate and break this dance down into its core elements. The jig commences with Mario vigorously pumping his arms up and down, similar to runner's form, or to the steering of a wacky train. This commencement primarily acts as a breathing point or principal lull in which the dancer or dancers may collect themselves and become attuned to the accompanying beats of the melody. With this warm-up completed, Mario emphatically urges dancers to, and I quote, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go do the Mario.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go do the Mario.
These words are succeeded by a more pronounced sequence of arm movements of the same variety we previously touched upon. Some rotation at the waist is employed here, but as Mario makes no distinct reference to such maneuvers, it is overall ill-advised for beginners or those who suffer from chronic back injury. The dance's complexity escalates as Mario then insists that, and I quote, the dancer take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now.
We'll take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now.
This step, as Mario so eloquently phrases it, is to be pulled off slightly after the portion of the song referencing it has passed, almost as if you've forgotten the step and are now quickly acting it out in order to satisfy the slight time displacement at hand. The step itself is not measured in typical units, so we are forced to create our own Mario meters. By closely analyzing the footage, one can safely assume the step to be below average in nature, a trundling stride perceptible to the human eye, yet meager in real distance traveled. 1 Mario meter is standard here, but if you are tall and lanky, a Luigi length is recommended in its stead. However, since nobody likes Luigi, he shall no longer be referenced throughout the remainder of this episode. Anyways, once this step has been completed, dancers are free to maneuver their other leg forwards to meet it, again demonstrating a classic Mario meter. This action is performed so that the dancer does not have to remain in the somewhat compromising position of the former step for exceedingly long stretches of time. Mario proceeds to energetically wave his hands forward, urging the audience's increased participation and attentiveness. But make no mistake, this is not part of the dance routine. This is ad-libbing, the process in which an accomplished, non-intoxicated actor deviates from the prescribed script assigned to him or her in order to instead portray an emotion or activity of their own machinations. In actuality, the audience is intended to loop the motions from earlier as Mario reiterates their steps for the more forgetful members in attendance. The raising of the participants' arms can vary in intensity as Mario demonstrates, occasionally expertly blending the swings with a gesticulation, once again urging audiences to engage in the mating ritual rather than standing awkwardly to the side and looking on in awestruck confusion. But these movements are once again added as creative flair on the part of Mario, and as such are not expressly recommended in most public outings. Take note that once a step has been accomplished, several small bunny hops backwards are advocated so that participators do not cover too much ground. This dance is all about safety. Mario does not want you to take one step into oncoming traffic. That is anything but super. When the loop has reached its conclusion at the discretion of the individual who instigated the routine in the first place, in this case roughly 2 or 3 times, I really couldn't be bothered to check to be honest, the dance concludes with a strikingly beautiful flourish, wherein the dancer suddenly takes a short hop and extends both his or her arms outwards, demonstrating the dancer's inferior, or in this case, vastly superior girth and contentment at accomplishing the family dance in accordance to its strict guidelines. To make this clearer, Mario announces in his timbre Brooklyn accent, "Just like that."
Just like that.
And that's it. Or is it? Did you catch that? At the very end, Mario haphazardly lurches forward, his right leg shifting to a position equivalent to half a Mario meter on the Z-axis. At first glance, an inexperienced viewer may assume that this is the result of a loss in balance, tripping, a consequence of the footing lost when springing into such a perilous posture without necessary forethought or training. Yes, people believe that this motion is what we in the industry refer to as ruining the entire take, but they'd be wrong. This motion is actually, in many ways, the Mario's most elaborate puzzle piece.
It represents instability, not just of the body, but of the mind, of our ever-shifting emotional turmoils.
The deep burdens we bear alone, the superficial suffering we collectively share, our inner doubts and demons, our worries, grievances, and personal insecurities. They weigh on us, try dragging us down on our bellies to admit defeat, to surrender in the face of a world so much bigger than we could ever hope to comprehend, broad in its complexities, endless in its secrecies. They seek to bury our faces in the unforgiving dirt, rub salt into our wounds, see us crack under all that immense weight. But we don't. Mario catches himself, picks himself up by the seat of his pants, forces himself to brave the trials and tribulations that await him. Tomorrow's speech in front of the class, the workplace deadline, the worrisome blind date, the wheat bread you tucked behind the box of hamburger helper in the top cabinet and forgot about and now it's expired and stinking up your entire apartment and your neighbors are beginning to complain. All of that. He catches himself. He braves that nebulous, sometimes somber tomorrow. He takes one step.